Hi everyone, welcome to New Images 2020 and welcome to the last pitching session of the day. My name is Eli and I'm in charge of the XR financing market within New Images Festival. The market is a place that aim to be the market is a place that aim to be the place for to discover the future masterpieces to be discovered, pitched, and financed. Our selection this year is made of 40 immersive projects that all explore new forms of storytelling through either film, game, arts, or performance. The five projects we're gonna discover tonight are all probing the psychological depth of humanity through very personal and original experiences. So before we start, I would like also to welcome our decision makers. So with us tonight, we have Miriam Achar from the Phi Center. We have Jenny Wu from IBM Watson. And we should have, because we're still waiting for them, some guys. Michael Masukawa from Secret Location, Jeffrey Travis from Positron, Jérôme Colette from Ubisoft, and Jingsu Chen from Veer. So the first project we're gonna discover tonight is titled Chocolate Milk. The project will be presented by Sonia Bothic and Jonathan Weiner. We're gonna watch the trailer first, and then we can go for the Q&As.
Hi, I'm Sonia.
And I'm Jonathan.
We both come from the US and we are co-creating a project called Chocolate Milk because Jonathan loves chocolate milk. In fact, he really, really loves chocolate milk, but that's not the point of our story.
I have many talents, yet many struggles because I have autism. So I want to show the world through my perspective. I want people to understand that I am just like one of them, only with a challenge that gives me limitations.
And I'm a filmmaker who wants to help him achieve his goal. The word autism comes from the Greek word autos, which means self, implying that the person is removed from social interactions and becomes an isolated self. But after becoming friends with Jonathan, for me, that meaning changed to an authentic self. The project portrays his authenticity.
So that is why we are creating this VR immersive experience. The VR is an animated exploration of fear, happiness, joy, and struggles through my eyes. The user will be able to interact with the experience by taking deep breaths, but won't be able to move forward unless following those instructions.
The general characteristics of a people with autism is something called 3M: music, math, and memory. We're using his exceptional memory as our story frame, in which the user will go through a series of experiences Jonathan had when he was younger, so we can finally break through that wall that has prevented people from understanding how a person with autism thinks or reacts. It will be 9 to 12 minutes replayable immersive experience.
So what did we decide to put in a hallway?
We decided to add some slime, some scary creatures, even fire and spikes, because made me think of Super Mario Brothers. So
And you love Super
and
Mario.
I love Super Mario Brothers, and those are a lot of the obstacles he faces in his quests.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just the neon exit sign that was in the opposite direction where I had to go.
How did you make you feel? What bothered you about that sign?
Just, I guess, going to the extreme, like kind of like a creepy face looking at me.
Mm-hmm. So the exit
Perfect.
was a creepy face.
That was right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So, just gave me another thought.
Okay.
We can make like something chasing you.
So the exit sign could be a creepy
Yeah, like a
thing.
creepy. Yeah.
that's like about you and chasing you, and you have to go to
Yeah, you
here,
have to
and
go
you're
there.
telling yourself not to look at the sign because it's
Yeah.
scary. But in order not to look at the walk, you have to go through all these obstacles.
Yeah.
Great.
Don't look at the exit sign. Don't look at the sign. Keep walking. Head down. Keep walking. We're almost there. Don't look at the exit sign.
We're here, John. The doctor's office is down the hall. It's okay, John. It's just a hallway. There's nothing to be scared about. Just breathe. Breathe slowly. Come on. Take a deep breath.
The title of the project is a metaphor for Jonathan's approach to life. Despite being a 33 years old adult, he still sees the world with the simplicity, honesty, and idealism one would find in children.
This project is mainly aimed towards people who know someone on the spectrum to help them better understand the world of their loved ones and to bring them closer to the general public. We teamed up with Autism New Jersey to help us reach our audience.
The project was pitched in Prague, Neon, New York City, won awards for the best pitch. It was developed at EFLab in Latvia and Belgium. We secured the development funding by a private equity and investment by a co-production company. We're looking for the rest of the funding and also creative and technical collaborators so we can move to the production stage and finalize the project. Thank you.
So thank you, Sonia and Jonathan, for joining us tonight, and thank you for this great presentation. I would like to open up the discussion with decision makers. Do you have any feedbacks, any question for Sonia and Jonathan? Yes, please, Miriam.
Yes, hi, I'm Miriam, based out
Hi.
in Montreal, Phi Center. Very nice to meet you. First, I think congratulations. It's a great
you.
pitch. It's
Thank you.
relevant story you want to tell. Really, I think it can. It will. Not it can be, but it will be very powerful, no doubt. I'm curious to know, like, because you say you secured some fundings. What is, and maybe you said it, but I don't think I heard it, but what's the entire budget, and what is also the time frame you're looking at to produce the piece?
Okay, so hi, and thank you for a nice words. The total budget is $123,000 US. So we were able to raise 18,000 and some change that went into, like, you know, building the stuff, and we actually developed this custom script so we could test the we did the user. We are using breathing, and we want to add singing as an interactive element. So from the technical point of view, and everything else took us a while, and then also it cost. So the test scene that you watched, of course, it's not our design. It will be way more, you know, we're more developed and much better, like, visually, but then we focused on testing the technology. So the time frame, we are thinking and looking to start really with the production, hopefully, because we keep negotiating and hopefully, you know, pushing to really soon, so we can end by the end of the next year and have it, like, ready for the beginning of 2022. So like January 2022, it's our, like, final goal for, like, to be finished premiere somewhere. So.
Yeah.
Anyone? Another question?
I do actually have another question. Like, I'm
Go
curious.
ahead.
Please go ahead.
I'm curious to know where do you see your piece being distributed? Is it is it, yes, of course, it's going to be, you want it to be shown in festivals, but is it part of a, is it like, does it have a big educational aspect? Do you want to see it in museum or I don't want to say science center, maybe it's not the right, but where do you see it actually?
As Jonathan described, we partner up with Autism New Jersey organization to help us reach the audience because we're mainly making this for people who are directly related to someone who is on a spectrum. So parents, friends, school teachers, professors, and so on, so they can better understand what these people are going through in certain situations, so they can better assist them and help them and, you know, like actually include them in the society and not exclude them. So ideally, of course, festivals and places, because we want to make it like a location-based installation. But at the same time, we're thinking to create also, you know, available like as an app, you know, it can be a streaming services, because most of the people in US are still having the phones and they look like this, you know, they don't even put the headset. It's like, you know, moving it around. And so to be available for people like who are, you know, who might have challenges to get, you know, all the equipment and technical abilities, you know, to make it more worldwide available, and definitely to partner up with the organizations like that so we can communicate and talk. I do get asked if I am a psychologist. I'm not. I'm a filmmaker, and I'm just, you know, great friend with Jonathan, and we have this great collaboration, and I really value every input that he was able to put into this project. You could see in our scene when we communicated, I really just asked questions and everything comes really from him. So I wanted to understand Jonathan's world, and I wanted to understand how does he feel. And I felt that the VR as a medium can be perfect medium to understand someone's feelings. You know, we work with the feelings. When we watch, like, you know, documentaries in like traditional media, yeah, it can make us laugh or cry, but then when we go through that experience and experience ourselves, it stays not only in our mind, but in our body as well. And I feel that's a better tool to communicate what we want to say. So definitely looking for you know, partner organization that can, you know, help us reach the audiences. It turns out, because Jonathan is from New Jersey, and it turns out that in the States, New Jersey is the state with the highest percentage of people with autism, and so their organization is very big, but then taking it to more national and international level.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi,
Please go ahead.
I'm Michael Masukawan from Secret Location, and I really liked kind of the hallway sequence that you had. I was just wondering, are most of these supposed to be kind of game engine animated kind of different
Yes.
sequences? And is there any kind of documentary footage that you cut back and forth between the two, or?
We are actually planning to have two pieces. So it's going to be a VR and a documentary. It's kind of more focusing on Jonathan's life. He can talk about himself. I don't want to take all the like time, but then the virtual reality is going to be built in Unreal Engine. And it's going to be like kind of built in virtual world, you know, immersive experience, and you're going through his memory. So we are recreating some scenes based on the memory he had. As I said, like people with autism have an exceptional memory. So we're using that as our story frame. And it's kind of like a, you know how memory is non-linear. One, you think about something, but you look into something else or talk about something, it takes you to another thought. So we want to kind of play with that, how one thing leads to another. And it's going to be really kind of like a roller coaster of different feelings and situations, you know, some fears and struggles, but also happiness and joy. But then Jonathan can tell a little bit about himself, what we are thinking to put in a traditional documentary.
Cool. Yeah, I have experience from kind of distributing a VR film. We have a 35-minute longer VR film called The Great Sea that I've been distributing over the past 2 years. So after, you know, sometime let's connect afterwards. I'd love to kind of tell you about kind of the different platforms that we've tried to put it on, and some different ways we've tried to get it to both at-home consumers and LBE. I'd love to talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you. Yep. Jonathan, do you want to say something?
So of course, now with this project, you know, a lot of it, as you may have figured out, comes from my imagination too. So, and of course, like I'll explain some of the other scenes we're thinking of putting into the project. Like when I was younger, I used to I used to be afraid of going through automatic doors because, you know, they would make a loud noise and make me uncomfortable. And another time when I sang with this choir, with this elementary school choir, there was this portrait in the hallway of the woman who the whole school was dedicated to, and it very creepy to me. And of course, other things, you know, that always bothered me was because when I was younger, I didn't like wearing long sleeve shirts because just the way they felt, it didn't really give me much freedom. But I've gotten over that fear. And now for some of the positive things we're putting in the project is my perfect pitch ability, because I have perfect pitch. So, and my memory too. Like, for instance, like in the supermarket after the automatic door scene, like when we imagine my mom asking me, you know, mom forgetting a list and mom asking me what were some of the things on the list. So she asked me what they were, and I'm supposed to remember because she didn't have her list. Because like we said, people with autism have good memories for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's the power of VR, is to really kind of get into your head and tell your story. So I think this is going to be a really, really powerful piece.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to both of you. We have to move to the next project because it's already 10 minutes. But yeah, very, very excited by your project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next project is Goliath. It's going to be presented by Katayun Dibamer and Aneta Jones. We're going to first watch the video pitch and the Q&A afterwards.
She could relapse at any time. Relay is strong.
I'm on borrowed time, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, my head's just feel good because it's, you know, I don't normally tell people about some of this.
We wanted to address the stigma of schizophrenia, mental illness, or psychosis. I wanted it to be really cool to leave the experience being completely bombasted, learn about gaming, to learn about like these societies that exist, these communication things. And when you see somebody just sitting down at a computer game, there's a lot more going on than just, you know, can't judge them like that. You know, so in the end, it kind of rings off just a very neutral documentary. Like I wanted it to be a bit social realist, kind of like that's just the way it is.
When I was a kid, I played a lot of games. It was a way of getting away from things, having that escape.
I think there's something really powerful about how when you're in virtual reality for a little bit, there are moments where you kind of accept things that you know are not really there. And so in a way, like the technology itself plays with the brain's capacity to create a world out of like a few sparse signals.
You can't tell what's real and isn't real. You can't tell what's real and isn't real. You can't tell what's real and isn't real.
When we meet John, we're never in a kind of room. We're always in a kind of representation of his memory as we go along, basically. We are evolving the style as it goes along. So it like this, everything gets more and more real, so to speak, as we get through the experience, until at the end we are actually in a photogrammetry room, and you know, in reality. So we're slowly kind of formulating a reality as we go along, using kind of game kind of paradigms.
Outside the window.
Thank you. So we have the chance to have both Katayun and Aneta with us. Hi, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Aneta, we don't hear you.
Maybe, yeah.
Hi there. Nice to
Hi.
see you all.
So, decision makers, do you have any feedback, any comments on what you just see? Yes,
So
please, Miriam.
hi ladies, nice to see you.
Hello, Miriam.
Hi.
Hi Annette, long time no see. So first I have like a disclaimer. I'm a huge fan of what Anagram does. So most of the time, not most of the time, all the time. And I came across a project, I think last year at Creative XR in London, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen at the end you have like already many partners attached to the project, which is obviously great. Again, curious to know, it's a maybe boring question, but curious to know about the budget, curious to know what's in place already, what's missing. I totally no need to ask what's the plan for distribution, because it feels, you know, very of course festivals, but not only festivals, like museums and galleries. But yeah, really curious to know about a budget, what's in place, what's missing.
Yeah, I'll take that, Katyn. So nice to see you, Miriam. So right now we've secured about just under £600,000, but we're aiming for about around 800,000. Yeah, just over 800,000 to complete the project exactly how we would like to.
And if I might just add, this is maybe just for the experience to be out there. So I think there's still LBE installation attached kind of budget that could add to this budget for eventually museums or galleries, or like a LBE kind of distribution, which is not still in the budget that we have.
Exactly, yeah. So the budget that I'm talking about is solely to distribute the experience on the Oculus Quest headset. But beyond that, we have big plans for a kind of theatrical installation involving actors. Some of that has been derailed for obvious reasons this year, but we'd love to pick some of that up, and yeah, have lots of ideas in the pipeline that we're discussing, and that would be an additional budget.
Have you already started to think about the installation? And I mean, Katayun, we very often talk about installation, like that creators should think about it already, like even before starting or right at the beginning. Is it something that you're already looked into, or?
Do you want to go ahead, Anita?
Yeah, sure. So originally when the idea was conceived, it was conceived as a theatrical sort of installation piece. And then we later adapted it to live solely on the headset. But the first initial prototype that May and Barry worked on involved actors in a room and the sort of like classic anagram theatrical sleight of hand. So kind of tricking people into, so when they take off the headset, they question their own reality as well as the reality that they see inside the piece. So, I mean, a lot of that idea is already kind of scoped up quite a bit. I mean, whether I'm sure the team will want to revisit that based on how the in-headset experience has developed as well. But yeah, I'd love to see that piece come to fruition, because I think it would be.
I mean, I was one of their victim at Creative XR. They mess with me, and but it's something incredible. So yeah, I have no doubt this is going to be. I like the words right now, but then an amazing piece, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and you know, Miriam, that anagram, they're very, very powerful in anything that they do in installations. So definitely it's part of the project that we might not be very active at the moment, but it's definitely part of the project that we want to go to.
Okay, any other feedback from our decision makers?
Are you looking at 2022?
Spring 2021 for the Quest piece. Yeah.
Okay.
We're in production already. Some of the artwork that you saw in the piece, well, some of the sort of in capture installation, in headset capture was from artwork that's being developed for our alpha delivery. So, yeah.
Wow.
Have you already spoken to Oculus about publishing it on the Quest? Because I know that they can be pretty selective on what they let onto that store.
Yeah, so Oculus are one of our funders, one of our partners.
Great.
Yeah, but yeah, when it gets released is still up in the air. It'll probably be late spring. But
yeah, to me that was going to be like one of the most challenging parts. But if you've already gotten past that, then I think you're in good shape. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you
so much.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Ellie.
Thanks for the opportunity.
If we have some maybe we have some decision makers on the live stream. So if you want, just to remind you that if you want to meet this project, they are all online for one-on-one meetings. So please just contact me, and I will of course arrange any meeting you want. So let's thank you, Katayun, thank you, Aneta, and let's move to the next project. So the next one is titled Remembrance. It's gonna be pitched by Anna Brady and Lester Francois. We're gonna watch the trailer first.
Hi, I'm Anna Brady. Today I'm going to be talking about my project Remembrance. I'm the writer and director, and my production company, Studio Bento, will be producing Remembrance. We create content for all screens and have been focusing on VR for the last 4 years. We made the interactive VR documentary Roan, which premiered at South by Southwest 2018 and then screened at many festivals around the world. Roan won several awards for Best VR Film. Remembrance is a fictional interactive VR experience. We take viewers through the memories of Felix Katzner, a traumatised German World War I veteran, to recover his repressed trauma. The film will be animated in German expressionist style, surreal and disturbing. Our protagonist Felix fought in the war with his twin brother Hans. Since returning from war, he has had terrible night terrors, and has been interred into a psychiatric hospital. It is there that he is hypnotized to find the source of his trauma. Remembrance is inspired by the 1920 film The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I just love the bizarre look of the German expressionist sets and thought it would be incredible to be transported inside them through VR. After doing some research, I discovered that the writers of the film, Karl Mayr and Hans Janowitz, were both affected by World War I. Janowitz came back traumatized after fighting in the war. And Karl Mayr was subject to rigorous psychological testing, as he was a conscientious objector. Remembrance's protagonist Felix is a composite of these two men. In Remembrance, we start the experience in a psychiatrist's office, embodied as Felix. We are hypnotized and then enter his memories. While inside Felix's mind, the style shifts to German expressionism to echo his troubled state. Embodied as patient Felix, we go from memory to memory, observing his past. To move from one memory to another, we must find a portal in the scene. These portals are surreal. For example, we enter a shop door to find ourselves in a train station, or we teleport inside a painting. Finally, we discover the shocking event that Felix has repressed. He killed his twin brother Hans in friendly fire. At the end of the experience, we return to the conscious world, and as Felix, we are asked to make a choice. To remember that Felix killed his own brother, or to forget with the aid of electroshock therapy, but risk forgetting Hans altogether. So what inspired Remembrance? Well, memory is something that I've always been fascinated by. Our memories are such a huge part of our identities, yet they're so fallible. We can remember something completely differently to how it actually happened. I find it quite disturbing that our memories, our backstories really, could be falsehoods. I have a few early childhood memories that are really similar to some family photos. I'm not sure if they're real or are recreations of these photos. Felix's story is an exploration of this idea. Can we really trust our memories? So this fascination with unreliable memories and the film The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari have come together to form Remembrance. We feel the gripping narrative and the unique German expressionist style will make Remembrance a striking experience. Also, by utilising the power of a game engine, we will create strange, dreamlike moments and surreal portals that take us from memory to memory. Remembrance is currently in development. We have a 5th draft script and made a small prototype for the Cannes XR Developers Showcase. The prototype demonstrates an early iteration of the look and feel of the experience. Our next goal is to finalise the script and interactive design. The budget for Remembrance is €120,000. We've raised 10% of the budget so far from our state funding body, Film Victoria. Our aim is to apply to our national film body, Screen Australia, for production funding, and they have taken a keen interest in the project. We're looking for co-production partners, letters of interest, and partial funding to help secure Screen Australia production funding. Thanks so much for your time and your interest in Remembrance.
Thank you for this great presentation. We have so Anna and Lester with us. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So maybe I'm gonna start with the first question for you. Can you make some updates regarding the projects since your last presentation last June at Cannes?
So since Cannes, we've just been developing the script further, and we're about to apply for more development funding from Screen Australia, our national film board.
Yeah. And with this development money, we're trying to get through Screen Australia. We're hoping to make a vertical slice of the piece. We want to make 1/3 of the piece and make a clear vertical slice, which we'll share with potential partners.
Okay. Let's open it up to our decision makers. Do you have any?
I'll go first.
Feedbacks for the team? Yeah, Michael.
I'll go first this time. I'll give Miriam a chance. Hey guys, I remember meeting you guys last year at New Images. Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, no, I think this. I love the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and remember reading this book when I was a kid about the film. And I think this is really like a really great use of VR in terms of kind of just different art styles and stuff that we can't normally go into. So I think it's beautiful, and I think it's a really cool idea. Yeah, I think I'd kind of ask, yeah, kind of the distribution question. So are you guys planning to put this out on Quest and kind of the home store fronts, as well as look towards LBE for distribution, or what's kind of the idea there?
So initially we'll do a festival run, and then we want to put it into museums and galleries and cinematheques, where we're planning to do an installation along with it, and then eventually it'll end up online. We'd like to make a version for the Quest, but we really just have to see how it pans out with our developers to see if we can make that work with the art style, because we feel like it's going to be quite intensive on the computing system. So
yeah,
I mean, it would be great to walk into a room in German expressionist art style before you get into the experience. And yeah, I wonder if there is some kind of either museum that specializes with that or has a touring kind of exhibit with that. That would be good to partner with this experience. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, and we've had some museums interested, so we're just kind of planning on developing our relationship with them and talking to them further.
Fantastic.
Hey, I just want to say it's a great pitch. Really nice presentation. I concur with Michael that it's a great style. I would love to experience that myself. Just a kind of a basic fundamental question, and maybe you've already answered it, but just curious about what the biggest creative challenge has been, maybe in telling the story, maybe something having to do with the technology.
About the quiz? You want to talk about creative?
Oh, okay. I guess we've been sort of with the script we're trying to kind of keep the budget reasonably low. So I've been talking to game developers, and like we're planning to reuse environments, and I've killed off one of the characters because he wasn't really doing anything to keep the budget low. Yeah, I guess it's going to be quite a surreal experience. So I'm still working out in my head exactly how that's going to work with the interactivity, but I think that's going to be the biggest creative challenge.
Yeah, and from a technical point of view, we're very confident it'll work on a PC. And game engines, are built with this kind of experience, a surreal experience with environments changing. So the real challenge for us is like how do we optimize this for the Quest 2? So we've anticipated the Quest 2 having the XR2 chip, and so we've been thinking about that. So it really comes down, once we do our vertical slice, can this be optimized for the Quest 2? And then we don't want to compromise the vision of the project too much, but we're happy to make adjustments for it to fit on the Quest 2, because clearly, that's where the market's going. And I think a lot of festivals will embrace the Quest 2. So, we have to go where the market is.
It's always a balance, so good luck.
Have either of you tried War Remains? That Madison Wells VR project based off the Dan Carlin, hardcore history.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one used a really good, with the wall, I think there was like there's a boot, there's like a cross necklace at one point. So just kind of some of the practical effects as you're kind of walking through the set, I think really added for that one. So, now that you've got, kind of the museum is the first place you want to take it. I could see the possibilities of you're in the art style, you go in. Just a basic VR experience that works for everyone is Ruchi's Plank experience. And I don't know if there's a part where there's a creepy hallway and you have to walk on something kind of thin in the middle, but that anything like that could really add to the experience a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hi guys, nice to see you.
Hi.
So yeah, we spoke about the project in Cannes, I think your visuals are going to be both like striking, and I have no doubt. We spoke about the installation a little bit. I remember, I think it's really important, and I know you do it like to think about in the installation while you are producing the piece, and then. I signed a letter that I could be interested definitely to show it at the center, and it remains the same. I'm really looking forward to see the evolution and when you're ready to share something, when you're ready to show something, I'll be happy to be one of your first. As I said earlier today, I don't know with who, like your first guinea pig to for sure.
Love that. Yeah, we're really excited to partner with Centre Fee. So yeah, we're happy for you guys to be our first guinea pig.
Okay, maybe one last question. Or maybe Anna or Lester, do you want to maybe to add to highlight something of your project that you didn't speak yet?
What about the installation?
Sure. Yeah.
So we're planning. We're going to have an installation with the museum LBE experience, where the user goes into. We'll have So the start of the experience starts with the main character, Felix, being hypnotized in a psychiatric hospital. So the experience will start in the exact same room as the experience starts in, like a psychiatric hospital, and there'll be an actor playing a nurse who will do the onboarding. So they'll put the headset on the user to hypnotize them, and then they'll be there to answer any questions in case the user gets lost. So the headset will be put on the user, and then they'll find themselves in the exact same space that they were in the real world, and then the experience starts, and a psychiatrist comes in and hypnotizes them.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thanks everyone for your feedback and your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna and Lester. So let's move to the next project. The next one is titled Strata of Memory, and is going to be presented by Karim. But we're going to first watch the trailer.
Hi, my name is Karim Douaidi, and I'm the co-creator of Strata of Memory, a multisensory interactive VR story based on the eponymous paintings of Syrian painter Kevork Murad. Inspired by the Arabic folk tales of 1001 Nights, this embedded narrative invites the visitor on a quest to unravel the storyteller's most buried memory, his parents hastily packing a suitcase to flee their war-torn home. Many people and culture groups around the world have suffered the traumatic experience of leaving home because of war. This VR story is a poetic meditation on exile and the role of memory and collective memory in the inheritance of trauma due to violence. Kevork Murad is a Syrian painter and visual artist. His creative signature involves painting and creating live animations for music performances. His work has been featured in many prestigious institutions such as Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He's also the only visual artist member in Yo-Yo Ma's Silk Road Ensemble. I am the co-founder and creative director of Chapter 4, a creative studio based in New York City that specializes in immersive and interactive content. I have produced and directed a number of immersive and interactive projects involving spatial audio that have been selected at prominent festivals such as Tribeca, Venice, Raindance, and Vancouver. Like Russian Dolls, the embedded narration will take the visitors on a non-linear interactive journey deeper and deeper inside the story told by the storyteller, through layers, strata, of recanted memories. Similar to a dolly zoom effect, two timelines will be going side by side until they meet at one point in time. The first timeline relates to the storyteller's personal memory, starts in the present, goes back in time, and is told by using audio and music. The other timeline relates to the storyteller's inherited collective memory, starts 3,000 years ago, goes forward in time, and is told by the visuals. Transitions from one strata of consciousness to the next are performed going through physical and philosophical gates, depicted as doors, windows, or arcades in the visual realm. Our goal is to use VR to explore a virtual mise en abîme, where each stage and layer of the story feels aesthetically and experientially unique, and can be interpreted as different stages of consciousness while still being coherent enough to belong to the same unified story and art direction. This can be achieved by manipulating elements like scale, drawing technique, introduction of color, agency, the type of interactivity, music, and sound design. This story will be created in a game engine and will involve 6 stuff in both linear and interactive segments. In order to make this poetic journey immersive and frictionless, the gameplay will barely rely on the use of controllers, but rather use speech recognition, hand gesture detection, and gaze. The visuals will all be captures of hand paintings by Kevork Murad and will then be processed and animated in post. The storytelling aspect of this experience is mainly driven by the spatial and interactive narration and sound design. We believe Strata of Memory is advancing the art of storytelling in the fact that it is a quite unique attempt at combining ancestral and modern methods of telling stories. The relevance of this project resides in it being at the intersection of a number of widely different art forms: traditional painting, virtual reality, and spoken poetry. Our ambition is to trigger an impactful emotional response that starts before and ends after interacting with the headset. We want to design the experience to start in the real world as soon as the visitor walks into the curated physical installation, where they're greeted by an actor playing the storyteller, suggesting that their current reality is possibly just another layer of their own memory. To offer a truly immersive journey, the visual world created in the story will take full advantage of the room-scale apparatus by unfolding over the entire surface of the space. This project is an ideal candidate for immersive festivals such as New Images, Tribeca, Sundance, and South by Southwest. Incorporating this piece into art galleries and museums is an equally important step for us and feels like a natural progression. The topic explored offers the perspective of new markets within the Middle East, North Africa, and their diaspora around the world. We're still in the very early stages of development. Strata of Memory has already been officially selected in the Vancouver International Film Festival co-production market organized by Kaleidoscope, and was also a finalist for the Sundance New Frontier Story Lab. I personally had the honor to be invited to the Sundance Theatre Residency, where I worked on portions of this project. In the next few months, we hope to dedicate more time and resources to further develop the prototype we have created. We would like to thank Kaleidoscope for their constant support and also thank Atlas V for their early mentorship and guidance with this project. I would like to thank you for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So thank you, Karim, for joining us. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yes,
you.
great.
So maybe one first question for you is about your production plan, because you didn't talk much about what will be your estimated budget and what kind of partners you are looking for. Can you elaborate a little bit on this?
Yeah, of course. So we're still really early in pre-production, as you can probably tell. And I guess the idea for us is to, I mean, we had this, to be fully transparent, we had this whole different plan, organized for 2020 before everything actually happened. So in terms of visibility, it's really hard to have a really clear idea of how things are going to go for the next few months. But the intention is to secure potential partnerships and dedicate time and resources to develop a more appropriate prototype and also work on the story. And I think those two things actually go side by side, and they will kind of feed off of each other, coming up with potential implementations of certain new technologies in terms of like hand detection, for example. I've been talking to a few manufacturers. So ideally, if we can actually secure some kind of early partnership that would let us test those ideas with an initial prototype, that would also have us develop the story in parallel. And in terms of to answer your question about overall budget, I think we've estimated 500,000 euros for the entire piece, and that's counting the funds that would go towards the prototype as well.
Okay. Do we have some questions from our decision makers? Yes, Miriam?
Yeah, wait, hi, Karim.
Hi.
So great pitch. And I think it's very, you did well to highlight the fact that your piece is, like bringing different disciplines together, like painting and then music with virtual reality, which is really, for a location like us, in Montreal, the Five Center, something highly interesting. Even though you are at the beginning, I'd be really interested for you to like for us to stay in touch, because I can see that type of project being shown at the center. I can see an installation. I can see even like ancillary programming with musicians and painters. So this is, for me, for us in Montreal at the center, like the type of project that we could definitely show. I, as I said, I'd be really happy to stay in touch.
Great. I think we even have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, so I'm happy to have even more conversations about it.
That's great.
Thank you.
What's the, sorry, Jenny, I didn't want to interrupt, but my last question was, what are you looking at now? Are you looking at 2022?
To be realistic, I mean, initially it was 2021. I think 2022 is probably more realistic, but it only depends on the next few weeks, months, and hoping that I can also, I'm a French citizen. I mean, I live in the US. I have, also French citizenship. So I'm hoping that I can secure potentially some public, funds in the near future, so that I can work on writing the story and developing the story. So if 2020 stays manageable, I guess probably yes, 2021, but most realistically 2022 is probably what we're shooting for.
So please, Jenny.
Okay, I just have a very simple question. It's really beautiful. I love how everything is coming together. I'm particularly intrigued by the overlapping timelines and the idea of the individual and the collective and how it's really connected, and so I'm very intrigued to see how you could pull that off. That being said, another thing that got me curious was your mode of interaction. It felt very light. It's gaze, it's speech, it's hand gestures. So I'm hoping that you could talk a little bit more about that.
Of course. So the initial intention is really to come up with a poetic fable, and that's something that I keep saying, and that actually sounds repetitive, but it's truly something that I want to experience at every single step of the experience. So I want this to start even as soon as the person walks into the room, I initially wanted to really focus on different things. The more I think about it, I think it would probably be more wiser to maybe just rely on hand detection, for example, and have like subcategories of different motions that would actually allow you to navigate the story. The only thinking about that is that I don't want to overcrowd the user experience and also confuse the audience. So it's very possible that all three things that I mentioned can actually work together. I mean, we're so early in production as well, or pre-production, but that's my inclination at the moment. And I think the three main topics of user experience are, the embedded narrative, the two timelines going side by side, and also the interactive storytelling, where the audience is given the agency and the tools to navigate the story the way they want. And it seems to me that this aspect of remote and not using a frictionless interaction is probably the most intuitive way of navigating that, versus making something cumbersome that might need some learning curve.
Yeah, that was why that intrigued me the most, because it's almost like you could just dive into it immediately and be in the middle of it.
And also, I don't know if this answers your question, but the intention is also to truly rely on the audio and the storytelling aspect of it for pushing the story, so that the rest is more of a of an experiential relationship between the visitor and the rest of the experience. So if we really put the heavy lifting on the narration and the spatial audio, the sound design and the music aspect of things, I think this actually gives the visitor more room to explore the experience in a more organic way, I guess.
Thank you.
I guess I would just kind of second what Jenny said with the part in the presentation where you're showing the personal storyline going to the past and the collective storyline coming to the present. Made me think of Memento, and I really want to go watch that movie. So thanks for that. But yeah, I just think that was really kind of intriguing part of your pitch. So as you kind of develop the story further, I'd be curious to hear kind of what that kind of culminates in. And
me too.
I also just thought the art style also was like pretty beautiful and kind of reminded me of a different project I heard pitched at a different festival, but it had more kind of like this woodblock kind of style to it. So I didn't know exactly how I would describe your style, but that intrigued me a lot too.
It reminded me a bit of the Chinese Asian shadow puppets also.
Yeah.
I mean, the true inspiration is really from 1001 Nights with, the story within a story within a story. I mean, I don't really like this comparison, but, it's a more contemporary one. Inception, it's, instead of dreams, it's basically memories. So the really true thread is the storyteller remembering, if that makes any sense. So it's like recalling, remembering. And then this kind of places it in a, like a visual or experiential mise en abîme, where hopefully you get to the point where the two storylines meet at a crucial time in the psyche of the storyteller. It seems very dense, but it's like one of those things that I'm hoping in terms of like experiencing will just make complete sense because of like how it's all put together.
Okay, thank you for this great presentation, Karim.
Thank you.
And so now we're going to move to the last project of this station. The last one is titled Synesthesia and is going to be presented by Olga Pankratova. We're going to watch the trailer first and, of course, some Q&A afterwards.
This is a story about
ordinary people
who see and feel things the rest of us don't. They have a rare brain condition called synesthesia.
Hi everyone, my name is Olga Pankratova, and today I represent VR project called Synesthesia. Dali, Nabokov, Vladimir Scriabin, Kanye West, Mary J. Blige, and Billie Eilish. What do you think all of these people have in common?
I have a condition called synesthesia where I see sounds. I see them. Everything that I sonically make is a painting.
Exactly, synesthesia. 4% of human population born with or acquired during lifetime the special condition called synesthesia. Condition not so well studied is known to provoke the activation of several feelings at the same time.
The ground moving does not really alter my perspective up here. Nothing seems to affect my view these days. My life beyond stable, static.
What it's like living in a world where every little thing overwhelms you and you have to navigate throughout this experience like a common person. Watch Cece, Caitlin, and Greg, all three of them diagnosed with the rare condition of synesthesia, unveil the most amazing and not yet discovered before world of hypersenses. Synesthesia is a 3D cinematic journey into the brain of one of the most complicated and mysterious types of people, synesthetes. Captivating immersion into the brain of these people will allow the viewer to literally smell, see, taste, and feel all the experiences that our protagonists experience themselves during the creation of their own art form. And perhaps we can finally get a little close to understanding that maybe people are not born geniuses, maybe we can learn the secret of how to become one.
Further out to the right and behind me there's the car park and the sound of people starting and stopping their cars and driving off. Way off to the left there's the main road and the noise of the heavy traffic roaring past in the distance.
The wealth of this unique VR documentary project is that we're about to discover the unique cinematic visualization of the protagonist's world, completed by profound sound design and intensified by the olfactory sensations that will appear during the screening.
I hear the bold clacking of your tongue and feel you on me shaking with your
ice hoops.
hard-shelled quarter rest chewing the metronome crunch, gnaw the beat.
What makes our project to stand out is that no such story has previously been told before. The subject is unique by itself, and we are being supported by the Association of Synesthetes. We get an exclusive insights with a living scientist. Also, it's important because of a social aspect, as we discover how this extra sensation affects people's lives. We need to educate people that there is new normal, and we will code the phenomena of creative geniuses.
You mean not everybody sees sound?
46 years into my life, I'm just learning that not everybody sees their numbers in color.
I sort of see it as like these colorful sticky notes for how you process the world around you.
Some people see sound, it's called synesthesia.
In the 1980s and 90s, with the work of Dr. Richard Cytowic, his emphasis on using functional MRI technologies to look at the brain of synesthetes, to recognize that, hey, wait a minute, these people, their brains really do work differently. It's a scientifically documented neurocognitive difference.
But the biggest shock, not discovering that you're unique, but that the world is blind.
As for the team, we have the most experienced production team that has previously produced successful VR projects such as 1118 and so on. For now, we're currently at the stage of the final pre-production process, and we have locked down all the crew and characters, and we're ready to film. We're looking for the French co-production to successfully complete all the stages and launch our filming process.
Hi, Olga, and thank you for this great presentation.
Hi.
Hi. So maybe I got a first question for you is, how did you identify and your protagonist, and why did you choose them, or how did you choose them? I mean, except the fact they have the synesthesia, of course.
So yeah, basically the background story is that I'm based in Moscow, and in Moscow the community of synesthetes is really, really big. So the association had a big symposium back in 2019. So that's how we met pretty much all the key guys from the community that actually told our stories, and that's how we had long interviews with them. And also, obviously, we wanted to showcase different types of synesthesia, not only the sound to color, but also the mirror touch synesthesia that is very, very rare. So that's how we chose the key protagonists for our stories.
Okay. Any question from our decision makers? So yeah, Jenny?
I'm curious about the experience itself, the level of interactivity. Is there a linear story? Do the characters meet? Like, just can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So the characters, they don't meet. This is 3 different stories, but that's exactly why we wanted to, have different types of synesthesia, different types of synesthetes, because we wanted to have like completely different experiences. So that's why we want to integrate profound sound design. Also, we want to have an olfactory sensations as well. So we're working with some creative crew on this. So while you're watching the film, you can also smell everything. And exactly for the mirror touch synesthesia, we're thinking about the special jackets that will basically vibrate when our protagonist will talk about her story and how she feels. And obviously, because this is a documentary story and nothing is made up, this is where we kind of find our difficulty, because we want to be as true to life as possible, because it's really important for us to tell the true story and to tell the world that these people, they really feel the sensations. It's really hard for them to adapt in our society. So everybody, like any person, can feel and experience whatever synesthetes can. But we're also showcasing that this is not a disease of some sorts. It's just like a superpower for all these people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've heard about synesthesia, but you hear about it or you see interpretations of it, and I feel like something like this is quite ambitious, and it feels very fitting for such a subject. And I would be curious to see how that pans out, because it's a kind of thing that you can't explain, right? You have to kind of experience it, because there's such overlapping of the senses. So kudos.
Thank you.
I was very intrigued by the last thing you just said, Olga, which is kind of that it could be a superpower. So like in the examples you gave of like Kanye West, Billie Eilish, all these musicians who are very talented, obviously, they all have synesthesia. I think that's something that could be explored pretty well in VR and in this documentary, which is how does synesthesia really help these people do their art, even better than maybe if they didn't have this kind of unique way that they experiences their senses. So that was something like I think would be really, really cool to explore and hit hard on.
Thanks. Yeah.
And then as a documentary, I mean, I think everything you're kind of talking about with the vibrating jacket and the smells and stuff like that, like all that works well for kind of like a museum LBE kind of experience way to see it. And then to reach an even broader audience, I'm sure that you will try to maybe put it on Oculus TV, Oculus Video, things like that. With kind of the death of the Oculus Go, I'm curious myself to see how cinematic content gets kind of featured and curated on Oculus Quest 2 and that platform. But I'm sure with time, by the time you're finished with this project, that will be all sorted out a little bit more, and it'll be a little bit more clear how you could get it out on the Quest. So I think that's the other thing to explore.
Right. This is exactly our ambition, because we really, international team, and we want to really touch upon like all the aspects, not only, in Europe or in Russia. We have our protagonists in the States. And so that's why we want to also showcase and their feelings as well as broader as we can. So yeah, for all the aspects of immersive aspects that we can integrate, we're going to go for it, obviously. So yeah, that's our ambition for sure.
You said you were looking for a French partner. So 2 questions. Yeah. Why your French one? And what kind of profile are you exactly looking for?
So yeah, well, the production house is based in Belgium, and I'm based in Russia, and almost all of our protagonists are based in the States. So this is how we strategically thought that it would be best for us to develop our project. And obviously we're looking for creative team and somebody who will work together with us on the all the immersive content. So that's why we were thinking about French co-producer, but I mean, obviously not just specifically for the France, but also Canada, States. It's big, broad options for us as well. So.
Okay. And I'm just curious, do you know how much people actually are affected by synesthesia? Just to...
Yeah, there 4% of human population is they're synesthetes. So
okay.
That's the numbers. Okay. Not a lot, but still a lot to talk about and to actually make them seeable through in the society, and to actually because it hasn't been studied well throughout the 20th century, and just now scientists start to develop some methods how to actually test it and how to actually diagnose it. We can at least start talking about it and show it to society. So
okay, so except if we have a last question, I think it's, at least for European, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much, Olga, for this great presentation. I think this project have a great potential. And thank you to everyone for being part of this pitching session. The next one will be tomorrow morning, so 8 a.m. Paris time. And have a good night for those who need to sleep, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ellie.